I'm ready.
Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Victoria, I'm the digital storyteller here at DYADIC, and in today's video we're talking about the importance of social media in the B2B space. And for that I'm joined by the lovely Ewan Stokes. He's the Global Marketing Manager, or one of them, for Siemens Healthineers MR.
Correct.
And thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you for having me. As you say, I'm Ewan. I'm one of the marketing managers for MR at Siemens Healthineers, and my role is to look at MR upgrades, so any sort of upgradability or optional part of an MRI scanner, and make sure the world knows about it, essentially.
And to give the viewers a little bit of context of why we're even sitting here together, recently you and DYADIC worked together on a little social media video series for Siemens Healthineers. Yeah.
So we did a series of 8 very short LinkedIn videos aimed at sort of short form marketing content, which is probably quite a little bit away from your typical B2B style. But we wanted to give a little bit of focus on some of the things that kind of get lost in the sauce of an MRI scanner, but play a really important part in sort of everyday workings of the system.
We'll get back to those videos in a second. I do want to talk to you a little bit about why social media matters in B2B.
Social media gives you this ability to reach so many more people much more quickly than the traditional forms of B2B marketing. So I think in going forward, it's definitely something that we're already considering in terms of what or where and how that plays a role in our day-to-day lives as marketing managers.
You're personally very active and visible on social media and LinkedIn too, right? Do you have a strategy, or what's?
I want to say I do, but no, we do. When it comes to sort of content-based things, we definitely have a strategy behind what we want to share and how we want to share it. Being more active on social media is definitely down to sort of the individual's choice and whether or not they want to do it. I personally like it because it really does allow me to connect with so many people and get so many different opinions so quickly.
From your perspective, what is something that works really well on LinkedIn?
Looking at the kind of last sort of posts that I've done, I find it definitely works better if it's video-based content. If that video-based content involves yourself or a person or a face, definitely brings in more people to the post and more activity to the post. The
videos you did for Siemens Healthineers, they were really anything but standard B2B content. And I think you were the one that came up with the idea behind it, right?
Yeah.
How did you come up with this approach? Because they are really lighthearted and kind of funny.
I suppose the first thing to say is traditional forms of B2B marketing, I feel, always have to be there. That always has to be the white paper, the data sheet, the brochure. However, there's so much information to be digested with that. Some of that gets lost in the procurement process of buying an MRI scanner. And the things that happen every single day, or the things that you use every day, sometimes don't get a light. And that's where this idea first came about. It definitely was a collaborative effort to come up with the idea, but it initially started with me spending far too much time on Instagram, watching Instagram Reels essentially. So I'm watching these very short videos, learning something from them, and I thought there is a place in the world for this within business-to-business marketing. Nowadays there's a big bunch of millennials from a generation that are now in positions of influence within a workplace, and the way we as millennials digest information or take on information is very different, and that's going to be even different again for the Gen Z generation coming up, right? So adapting that type of information and having suitable content to deliver in such a short, sharp way, I think definitely came up.
When you and I guess your team pitched that idea, were there any doubts or hesitations internally from Siemens' side?
No, at Siemens Healthineers, we're a pretty open and creative bunch actually. I never got any blowback or any pushback that this is a way that we should not deliver any content. I definitely got feedback that this is definitely new for us and doing it this way, but I never got any feedback that in the sort of we shouldn't do this.
Why do you think those videos resonated so well with the audience?
It's super high level, it's not very in-depth, and it's giving people tangible outcomes or tangible things that they can achieve from using that specific feature, that specific bit of equipment. People like to learn what they have and what they can do with what they have, and it was directly tapping into, hey, if you have this is how we designed it, this is how it's supposed to work.
I mean, I feel like watching the videos, your humor and this just personality really shines through. Is that something that you did consciously, or is that just your style?
First of all, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I would like to think it's my style. I am that person in a meeting that will be hopefully slightly light-hearted. I mean, it's work, right? We've got to take it seriously, but sometimes it is nice to just chill out and relax and have a good laugh, and hopefully that came across in the video. So I would like to think it started with me, but then became a collaborative effort. Yeah.
That's great. What would you say to people who maybe are kind of wanting to go into being more visible on LinkedIn? Are there any words of encouragement for those? So to be more brave, I guess?
Yeah, I definitely encourage people to be more brave in terms of their marketing strategies online, but make sure you're doing it in a very, I would say, controlled way. You have to be very careful about what you say and the way you say it, but that's definitely something that a video gets over: tone. You hear tone. You don't hear tone when you write a LinkedIn post, right? So definitely would encourage people to sit down and definitely consider it, but make sure they do it in an organized and structured way so that the messaging fits in with what you want, and make sure that you're not posting something that you're going to regret in the future.
And if you are someone who already kind of has established a little bit of a personal brand, how important do you think it is to maybe use that personal brand to also then positively influence your company's maybe awareness or visibility on LinkedIn?
I think to convince a company to do things, it's not just an individual person that makes the decision, right? But it has to start with an individual person. And if you have the numbers and you can say, well, we tried this, it didn't work, so then we tried this, and we've got better views, better clicks, better interaction. If you have those numbers in your back pocket, it's always going to be easier to make those brave and bold choices, because then you have the backing of more and more people as you go. But if you never try, how are you not going to know, right?
Right, that's true. Let's think a little bit more about the future of B2B communications. If you had one wish in that area, what would it be?
I would love to see a little bit more creativity around the B2B side. It always has to have that formal and side of it, and I don't ever think that should change, but I do think that I would, a little bit more creativity to make it a little bit more tangible for sort of everyday person who maybe doesn't quite understand everything that's in a brochure or everything that's in a data sheet is a cool way to do it.
I know the DYADIC team really loved working with you on those videos. Was there any highlight personal to you that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting behind the camera now. Yeah. But the encouragement that they had when we were about 7 to 10 hours into shooting for those videos was very, 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 very helpful. I think it was obvious that my energy was slowly slumping throughout the day, or slowly slumping down throughout the day, but they were really, really positive, kept the energy up, and the final product that they made, chopping it together, editing it lovely, was great.
That's awesome. Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for sharing your great insight. It was such a pleasure chatting with you.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for having me.
If you'd like to see more content just like this, let us know, reach out to us, and make sure to follow us on LinkedIn. And thanks for tuning in. See you next time.